Hello everyone, this is CW here, back again with another video, and today we're basically going to do my review of Bakugo for Reze, as I was traveling back home for Easter. So my question for you everyone, how was your Easter day and weekend overall for the holidays and all? As we just jump right into the video, overall I think it was a nice episode, not like the perfect, not the worst, but just nice, especially this coming from a April Fool's. Sorry, April Fool's weekend.
Well, look who's here.
And like visually, it went good and all, especially around Mario Galaxy coming out and all.
Bakugo versus
nice.
Reze, the god of explosions versus the bomb devil.
This was a good episode,
and it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death
as you
battle.
can see here, that's the song by Brandon Yates. Like, this episode was good, especially coming from the meme.
Wiz, there's nothing like the smell of napalm in the morning, the rush of the shockwave, the flash of combustion. I love it when stuff goes boom.
Like
no one knows that feeling better than Katsuki Bakugo. When your name literally means powerful bomb, it's no wonder he was born with the quirk, explosion. It lets Bakugo create humongous kabooms from his palms. I can only dream of having hands that red.
The one from, you know, where Mega Man is from. But yeah, they did a good job with the analysis and background. I do think that Bakugo
are genetic superpowers that most humans are born with. Bakugo inherited his quirk from his parents. Specifically, it was a combination of his father's combustible acid sweat and his mother's glycerin skin secretions.
Making Bakugo sweat basically like nitroglycerin, and the more he sweats,
the bigger the booms. His parents basically made the perfect kid, absolutely oozing with shonen main character energy. Bakugo felt similarly, so much so that he started bullying his childhood friend who happened to be born without a quirk. Yeah, okay, he's kind of a snot-nosed turd sometimes, but come on, Wiz! The kabooms!
Was a good.
They're so cool! Quirks are a natural biological feature of a person's body. In the same way that we don't really think about walking or breathing, Bakugo's explosions became like any other limb, especially with his rigorous training. Bakugo quickly picked up on how to use his explosions to obliterate anything in sight, block attacks, launch himself around, and quickly maneuver in midair at hypersonic speeds, which requires a ton of focus and on-the-fly calculations. And despite getting this incredibly dangerous quirk when he was 4, he somehow never killed himself or anyone else that we know of. Bakugo was truly a prodigy, destined for greatness. And his only goal was to surpass Japan's numero uno superhero and his personal idol, All Might. In Bakugo's mind, the only person who wins no matter what. Absolute victory. No problem for the main character.
I do like
Except
this
Katsuki wasn't the protagonist that he thought he was. That would be Izuku Midoriya, the quirkless child Bakugo bully. In truth, he was threatened by Izuku's tenacity despite being quirkless. Really? That crybaby's the main character? Well, Bakugo's inferiority complex would only get worse when Deku somehow landed a quirk that was just as cool, and both were accepted to the same superhero high school, There, he would learn to be a superhero and fully develop his ultimate moves.
He was definitely
flying through the sky faster than sound with turbo speed, blinding people with stun grenades, focusing his blasts into armor-piercing shots, or making a big-ass tornado of death. The howitzer impact involves Bakugo spinning himself in midair with his explosions, building up a tremendous amount of swirling oxygen, and then igniting it all for one hell of a boom. He is pretty smart when it comes to strategizing mid-fight. He even developed new techniques for his quirk faster than Deku did. UA High also aided Bakugo's development by preparing him with his iconic Grenadier bracer, gauntlets that allow him to store up his sweat for prolonged bouts, or to release all of it at once in a single massive blast. He's also got his hero suit, which helps him sweat faster in order to build up stronger attacks. Or the Strafe Panzer, these badass turrets mounted to his back that store his sweat as ammo. With all of that, it wasn't long before Bakugo made his hero debut, called the Bombshell Hero, Great Explosion Murder God, Dynamite. Hey, I dig it. The more colons, the merrier.
But
for what
despite
I
some early
heard
wins, Bakugo failed to
or
live up to
seen,
his own
but
sky-high
still pretty
expectations.
nice episode
He had the
overall.
makings
I
of a
mean,
great
only
hero,
close to
if
2,000
only he
dislikes
could get
to,
out of
like,
his own way
50,000.
and put the team before his ego.
That's
Especially
still
when he was
kinda nice.
kidnapped by the League of Villains, ultimately leading
Especially
Bakugo
like
to
this
blame
being made
himself
in
for
like
All Might's
what, 4
retirement.
months after
Something
like
needed
in
to
October.
change.
So he
Which
vented his
stinks
frustrations
because,
in a
like,
slugfest
my
with
movie theater
Deku and
really
realized
closed,
something
and that was
crucial.
the- and
That the kind
seeing
of
the
absolute
Reze
victory that
movie
defined
was
All
the
Might
last
wasn't victory for
time
himself, but
with
victory
my
for
brothers, we
everyone.
went to
He
our
was starting
theater,
to become the
which
prodigy
stinks it
everyone
closed
knew
down
he could
in
be. I
January.
mean, hell, even while he was unconscious, he kept analyzing the fight he was in and coming up with counters. Somehow,
Bakugo's
Yeah,
powerful enough to
that was
shatter
fair. I think
Todoroki's
his
heaven-piercing
intelligence
ice wall,
was
fast
definitely
enough to
a
keep up
clever
with villains
play,
like
especially in the
Shigaraki, who can
fight
catch light
itself
beams,
with the
and tough
animation.
enough to
They did
survive,
a really good job
well,
with it. I'll
being
give
dead.
credit.
Yeah,
Especially
you
being,
heard us.
once again,
Bakugo
having a
was
creative kill
dead as a
in,
doornail.
like, that
and then
magic
a single
character.
bead of sweat floating through his bloodstream detonated and restarted his heart. If that isn't main character plot arc,
Okay, while Edgeshot was able to stitch Bakugo's inner organs, yes, it was especially Bakugo's imagery explosions. Okay, so basically,
I don't
while
know what is.
His stamina is
had it
perhaps the
healed, it
craziest
was
thing about
himself
it.
that was
After
able
all,
to bring
he
him
is
back.
tanking the recoil
that
of
definitely
all of
makes
his
sense.
explosions.
Even with the overuse of his blasts literally tearing his body apart, he kept trying to make him stronger, and eventually his quirk awakened.
Essentially, when a quirk evolves to become stronger.
Yeah.
Now, by condensing his explosions into
Basically a
smaller, more
power-up.
powerful clusters, Bakugo could enhance all of his techniques.
Like the Howitzer Impact Cluster, a stunning achievement in the field of explosionology, or kaboom theory for the layman.
Powerful enough to shatter the side of a mountain, or blow apart UA itself. Judging by the school's size, we can estimate Bakugo's Howitzer Impact Cluster yielded over 300 kilotons of TNT.
Given Bakugo's whole deal is explosions, it makes sense to science out what a ton of TNT
I do
actually is.
gotta admit,
It's literally
this
the energy
part
contained in
I
a
do like because it's like, you know, throughout the whole series of Death Battle, they basically always do like the ton focuses on the power of TNT and all, and that's probably because of like how big the impact is overall. Well, that's how the raw firepower is.
1,000 kilograms of trinitrotoluene.
A chemical compound composed of hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon.
So yeah, this is actually kind of good, especially more science part of it. Oh look, they have like references to like other series. Because I think that's like Dio versus Alucard on the left, and like right, maybe that's Deku. No, that's from Deku.
That's the
versus
recipe
Miles.
for
Hold on, I got-
kabooms. Now, imagine a pile of
Oxygen, and carbon.
That's actually good. That's actually a good reference. I did not
Nitrotoluene.
see
A
that.
chemical compound composed of hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and carbon.
That's the recipe for
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the right one is like from Deku versus Miles or like Asta, but I could be wrong. Yes, measure used in real world to strike the energy yield explosives.
kabooms.
Similar nuclear
Now,
bombs.
imagine a pile
Yes.
of TNT as big as the Empire
Crash
State
reference.
Building blowing up all at once. That's Bakugo's
I think
Howitzer
the
Impact
TNT
Cluster.
thing was a
And
nice
these
one, especially
explosions
when
can
you're
launch him
talking
so
about
fast, it's like time stands still
well,
around him.
Like
how
when he covered a
the,
huge part of this
how
city in a
both of
fraction
them
of a second.
were, like,
Almost 400 times the speed of
results
sound.
of it.
And that's not all. Now he can detonate his sweat remotely.
Yes.
And from all over his body, not just his palms.
With all of this crazy bullshit.
Yeah, him defeating All for One was definitely the reason why I went with Bakugo, especially near the even without the ending of My Hero Academia's excluding Fire Arc, like the raw speed of My Hero, especially the raw power with especially with the movies, like it was definitely enough for Bakugo to get the win. Spoilers, but destroyed Uraraka's meteor shower, outsped towards Dark Shadow, yep. Vaporized giant metal cubes. Blew up a side mountain, yep. Play the airborne new high, helped defeat 9. Which is, again, the movie reference.
Bakugo became one of the strongest heroes on Earth.
yeah,
Enough
that's
to
still
battle and
pretty
defeat
good.
All Might's lifelong arch nemesis, All for One. Yeah, that's right, the main villain. Who's the protagonist now, Deku?
Bakugo literally
definitely
and
was a
figuratively
good way
surpassed
to
his
end.
childhood idol. and proved his mettle as a hero.
Number 5 on the rankings and rising.
Dynamite is
Not bad,
actually
John.
kind of good.
But
X-Men
more important than
too.
proving it to his friends, to All Might, or even to Deku, he proved it to
I'm
himself.
surprised they had
Yeah,
not
whatever.
do a
Take
My Hero
that,
Academia
losers!
against
Sickest
X-Men
quirk in the world
character.
over
That
here!
would be interesting.
Dynamite! Dynamite!
That's funny.
Dynamite!
You know how, I like how,
Wiz, what happened?
Boomstick's, like, enthusiasm towards Bakugo.
Year ago.
So that was good. But, they're promoting the plushie and all, which was kind of cool.
There's a new
Especially having the golden
order one for
limited time. That was good.
so don't miss out. Famine,
Man. Like I said,
death, war.
man, Chainsaw Man is good, but man, that sour ending and all. I do not know how it's what's going to be added in the end. I wish there was a part 3. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they would get a sequel. Hopefully, similar to Jujutsu Kaisen. That's the only thing I can think of it redeeming itself. And probably focusing on another character, probably the successor of Denji, who like is trying to find the Chainsaw Man or something like that. But like, I'm not gonna lie, Chainsaw Man has. I do agree with a lot of people that Chainsaw Man definitely had one of the worst endings. Like, I totally understand why people hated Neon Evangelion, even though that series is now complete, but it still took 30 years and multiple movies just to get that done. And like, man, I'll just get on to it. But like, Reze definitely
Famine,
was the best part of
conquest.
the movie and all.
Humanity has been plagued by all manner
That
of
movie
ills
was
since they
amazing
first
to
crawled
watch.
out of the primordial ooze.
And
In
they
the
did a
world of
good
Chainsaw
job.
Man, there is
Even
nothing
though
to fear
they
but
probably should
fear
have put
itself.
spoilers on
Because
it,
fear itself
but
is real,
with the
and
movie
they're
and all,
called
but
devils.
Literally,
still
devils
does
from
a good
hell. These
job
monstrous beings are the
analyzing
living
Chainsaw
embodiments of
Man.
humanity's worst nightmares, and their power is directly proportional to that fear.
So the chicken devil might be so weak you could keep him as a class pet, like, you know, a chicken. But what about the bat devil, or the ghost devil, or the devil embodying man's fears of one of the greatest weapons it's ever created, the bomb devil?
Yeah.
Little is known about the origins of the Bomb Devil's current host, Reze, if that even is her real name.
She might look cute.
I
and
do think, I will admit that I do like Reze's section better with the background because of better pacing, and I do like how visually it is done. They do use a lot of the movies in the manga section for this, but yeah. And as it says, she was considered the author's main favorite character, especially coming out of a porn star. That is a fact that did get some oh, my bad. Sorry for the background, but I do hope but it was based on a character on a real person he actually enjoyed. And I say the semblance is pretty spot on.
Hawaii, but she's actually a Soviet
But,
assassin
man,
trained from birth to be one of the
There's a
deadliest
lot of
killers
good
on the
characters,
planet.
especially Makima.
Basically a Black
Say
Widow.
what you want
A
about
cold
her,
and
but
lonely
man,
existence
her
for
design
anyone,
is
but
very
quadruply so in a
iconic.
world as effed
Simple
up as this.
and
But all
effective.
Reze wanted
Like,
was a safe,
less
normal,
is more.
quiet life. As much a fable to her as Aesop's Country Mouse.
Too bad! You are now a walking, talking explosive. Have fun.
At some point,
Man,
the girl known
I
as
do-
Reze was
I also like how they also brought back like character things, because even though they don't do the outros of like anything anymore because of like getting copyrighted with Saitama One Punch Man, that's why they don't do like character outros of like the quotes and all, which stinks. But this was a nice callback to it,
planted
especially
with
with
a
that
fragment of the
boom.
bomb devil and became a
That's
hybrid,
just me,
a
but
human possessing a
still.
devil's powers without sacrificing their humanity,
Mm-hmm.
transforming their body into a living weapon.
As a hybrid, Reze's strength and speed are way crazier than a normal human's.
They did a
And with her
real
martial arts
justice with
training,
the
she's a
movie.
force to be reckoned with up close.
And this actually
Also,
kind of
Wiz,
sounded
check
at
out the
first very
bomb for a
close than I
head.
Someone
thought.
like Reze would eat you alive,
the outcome.
literally. Should devils like Reze take any damage whatsoever, they can heal by consuming blood.
And that lets hybrids survive some pretty insane stuff, like having their limbs torn off, getting bisected clean in half, or being roasted alive. Just slurp some blood and they're good as new.
Especially useful considering the bomb devil's primary ability is literally blowing herself up. Reze can emit explosions from
And
any
then they do a good job with like the ability she does throughout the movies, and very simple
surface
but
of her
very
body,
good.
even tearing off limbs and turning them into bombs that she can detonate at will.
Damn, that's
Plus-
hardcore.
yeah.
She can use these blasts to jet through the sky
And
at
also,
hypersonic
what
speed,
stinks though that she
maneuver and
does feel
redirect herself
pain
in midair, and
for
enhance the
every
strength and speed
transformation,
of her
so that's
blows.
like
Or
high
Reze can send
tolerance.
sparks that can ignite the atmosphere in explosions that tear apart entire cities.
Kinda like
Making herself
Fullmetal
stronger the
Alchemist.
more fear her wanton destruction creates.
As long as the area around her is dry enough to maintain ignition, Reze can create as many explosions as she wants, non-stop.
She can
Yeah,
even turn her
human spheres of her not only enhances her explosive power, but also her physical power as well. He was able to shrug off an attack from the violence fiend who
own body into
specializes
different
in
types of
strength.
real-world
Yes.
bombs to massively enhance their power.
Like transforming
And
her
the
leg
shock
into a
power.
torpedo, or her apron into dynamite. Every single inch of Reze is a living weapon.
This made her feared across the devil world as one of their mightiest warriors, and the perfect choice to assassinate Japan's newly acquired devil hybrid, Chainsaw Man.
You see, you might not think chainsaws are all that scary, at least not compared to bombs, but the Chainsaw Devil is special.
Any devil the Chainsaw Devil consumes becomes deleted from reality, retroactively erased from humanity's collective consciousness.
And here I thought chainsaws were for boring stuff like trees or Texas massacres. Silly me.
This ability makes the Chainsaw Devil the most important being alive and invaluable for any global power to control.
Except instead of meeting the fearsome chainsaw of legend, Reze met Denji, a dumb, horny teenage boy just looking for someone, anyone, to love.
And for once, Reze actually hesitated. Rather than immediately kill her target, she got to know him and found they weren't so different. Both were used as tools of the state, as weapons of war rather than people.
Yeah,
A kindred spirit in
this
a
is
hostile
very
world,
psychological,
Denji wanted to
but
drink up
this
as
is
much of the
a good
excitement of
one.
life as he could. The town mouse to her country mouse.
And thankfully,
I'm not going to lie. I really will admit that for my movie of the year for last year, it was definitely more Chainsaw Man, because even though it was more action, it was probably one of the best romance movies I have seen in a long time. That's how good Chainsaw Man, because I feel like it was more of a romance because of Rise's interaction with Denji and all, and like the love relationship with the feelings and all. Like, it hit so well, and like, even though I did not cry, it was at the end. It was still like upsetting of the what
it was
happened. It
super
made me
easy
read
for a
the
pretty face
manga.
to manipulate.
I got done with
It
part
wouldn't be
one.
the
I need to
only
watch.
time.
Reze's
I
nothing.
like, even though the ending is definitely ruined, I would still probably try to watch part two, but read part two. But man, that ending does not help.
If not professional, and she gave Denji one parting
Oh,
gift
that reflection
to
is
teach
very
him the
nice.
way
I didn't
devils
realize
did
that in the
battle
movie.
before he died.
As the embodiment of one of the deadliest weapons known to man, Reze's power is off the charts, capable of creating an explosion more than 400 meters in diameter. That's over 4 football fields long.
To have a blast that size, you'd need to be exploding with over 2 kilotons of TNT.
More than comparable to nuclear weapons, which is really impressive considering Reze is not the devil of nuclear bombs. That's apparently an entirely separate thing.
Despite her bombs being technically conventional, they're just that strong.
Likely comparable to other powerful devils like the Gun Devil, who could travel across the world and kill millions of people in
Yep.
5
Getting
minutes.
to the
That'd be over
feats.
500 times the speed of sound.
She's even stronger than the Typhoon Devil, a sentient city-spanning storm.
The literal coughing baby to her hydrogen bomb.
Unfortunately
A
for
lot of
Reze,
memes
Denji
on
took her
this, but it's very acceptable. of how like detailed. Let's see, explosion eclipsed most of Tokyo. Yep, killed Devil Hunter barehanded. Yep, can fight while headless. Survive various limbs. There's a lot of feats that actually went pretty well with the movie, even though she was in like less than 20 chapters. That's how good of a character she was. Still stinks though that this was one side, but like the biggest disappointment in part 2 is not having Reze return.
He whooped her ass, but spared her life. Just in case her
That's
seduction wasn't a total act after all.
But
that would
it
have
wasn't
been
meant
a very
to be.
interesting
Whether Reze chose
thing.
the safe life of the country mouse or the exciting life of the town mouse, there are hungry cats everywhere.
Oh, Makima, what I would give to find someone to kill you.
Reze's dreams of freedom were never realized.
Foreshadowing
She simply
with,
changed
Gojo.
hands from one cold, unfeeling entity to another. And this time, there was no escape. She was a weapon.
That was a
symbol of man's
reference to
bottomless capacity for
what happened
malice
to her
and
with
self-destruction.
Makima.
A living bomb.
That was a good that was, like I said, I really like that.
The battle's about to start, and I hope you've got something good to hear these kabooms.
But Raycon commercial. But overall, like I said, if this were a prediction, I definitely would. I would have followed it because, like, with going, I was rooting for Reze because I do like a character development. But again, like, it was obvious Bakugo was going to win. Raw power
and we've run the data through
like
all
speed,
possibilities.
like
It's
speed.
time for a
It was just enough.
battle!
But this was a very good visual. Especially the music. The music really helped. I do think that they should have had an interaction, but of how they met, but it's still pretty good.
Sent to collect your head, Dynamite.
The voice actors were pretty good at this too, with the
Better villains than you have tried, lady.
visuals.
You tell your bosses that after I send you back in a coffin!
How would I tell them that if I was already dead?
That's true.
Wow, you're quick.
Shut up and die!
Like I said, like, this was very well good. A lot of people, I do love this. This was probably one of the best parts.
Oh, damn! Oh, damn!
I like how he knew something was up. The visual, the like hand-to-hand combat was pretty good with the hand-drawn sections. Oh, this part, yeah, this was cool.
Oh, it's on! Impact!
Oh, this is my favorite part.
Move it or lose it, people!
This is good.
Dynamite!
Let go of me!
Oh man, that is just so good.
Leave them out of this!
Even though she was going to lose, they did an awesome job with her. Because, like, actually looking like she was gonna put up a fight and win. But man, that's good.
For what it's worth, Dynamite, your blood was delicious.
You bit off a bit.
And here's the part where decided to do. But this is definitely was the most creative kill.
More than you could chew. My blood isn't the only thing you drank. It's my sweat you should worry about, dumbass!
Yeah, that part was very good. Oh, there's the meme. So for those who don't know, they did the Bakugo, for those who did see my prediction, they literally did the Wally West pose right there. So yeah, that was the moment that decided who was going to win.
I'm aiming for absolute victory! Howitzer! Impact! Lobster!
And he was just showing off after this. This is visually pretty nice too. this is the overkill. But visually, this was pretty good.
Scratch that. Not enough for a coffin.
KO! Oh, Denji, we're so sorry to hear about your girlfriend that passed away. She gets 5 big booms. Boom! Boom!
Please just shut up. On the surface, these two seemed evenly matched. So let's break this fight down into 3 categories: their speed, their stamina, and their firepower.
You know what? I kind of did call this episode 2, but especially with her regeneration and all, but like it was not as close as you thought. But I do think that they did a decent job.
First up, let's talk speed.
Both Bakugo and Reze could rocket through the sky at hypersonic speeds and maneuver and redirect themselves on a dime in the middle of fights. To
But
the
one
casual
can react
observer,
to
at
light
least, they
speed.
seem to be on par with each other.
So we have to look at the people they've fought to compare.
Reze has battled Chainsaw Man, who could match and defeat some.
Yeah, it did not help how she doesn't get part 2 feats because like how much stronger he
when
got
using the Gun
near
Devil's
the end.
power.
The same gun devil that could literally fly around the world, killing millions of people at over 500 times
Still
the speed of
impressive,
sound.
though.
Impressive, but
Speed.
compare that to Bakugo fighting Shigaraki, who could react fast enough to catch light beams with his bare hands.
That's over 1,000 times faster. And that was before
That was still
Bakugo's
pretty
quirk
close.
awakening that made him even faster than that.
With reaction speed of that caliber, there's little chance Reze could ever get the drop on Bakugo, and would likely be forced to play catch-up in a duel. Speed goes to Bakugo.
However,
result
speed
does-
doesn't matter
I
if
do
one
like,
couldn't truly
because
hurt the
it
other.
does seem
A
like
big
close.
part of this
Like this
fight
could go
is their
either way,
stamina.
but once
Bakugo's
again,
durability
the
is
raw power
mind-boggling. He
matters.
survived being impaled through the torso and has even
Stamina
brought
is a
himself
good
back to
com-
life.
But unlike
good
Reze, his
argument,
stamina
too,
does eventually
for
hit a
Reze.
limit. Every explosion he makes whittles him down just a little bit more and uses up more and more of his sweat. Without a break, he can eventually run out.
Whereas Reze can effectively create bombs without respite and from a distance.
Yes, and can
Unlike
heal from
Bakugo,
blood.
who usually likes to get up close and personal.
Furthermore, her devil hybrid physiology gives her an actual regenerative healing factor, allowing her to shrug off the same kind of mortal blows that would eventually kill Bakugo, main character plot armor or not.
If this ever became a war of attrition, Reze had it in the bag. Stamina goes to Reze.
However, it's unlikely it would ever get to that point. The biggest factor in this fight was always going to
Yes.
be the raw firepower.
And I definitely call this in my prediction for this. Like, it's going to come down to like the bomb radius, which is the firepower, and of course, the strength did matter.
Explosions! First, we gotta compare their 2 biggest blasts.
Which
Reze's
was
nuclear-like
impressively
bomb against
almost
Denji
close.
versus Bakugo's howitzer impact cluster.
And the difference is obvious. Based on calculating their sizes, Bakugo's 300 kiloton explosion was over 100 times more powerful than Reze's 2 kiloton blast.
But that's not all. Remember the Typhoon Devil?
Yes.
Coughing baby or not, to create a storm big enough to cover Tokyo's over 2,000 square kilometers, he'd have to be generating more than 400 kilotons of TNT.
Greater than Bakugo, right? But that's not all. Again, Bakugo's howitzer impact once shattered the size of this big-ass mountain. And despite being
The
earlier
mountain
on in
peak.
the series, it was ginormous. Almost 3 kilometers in radius.
Or just over 2 megatons of TNT.
Yes.
5 times more powerful than the Typhoon Devil, and way beyond anything we've seen Reze do.
Yep, and you also have to put it in the factor that Bakugo is able to keep up with Deku and Shigaraki, who could keep up with Dabi and Toriko, who was manipulating the weather worldwide, planetary. So that would be planetary. So yeah,
And
the
this
raw
was
power
Bakugo
was
before reaching his full power
was
in his
big
fight
factor.
against All for One. Bakugo takes the final edge in Explosion.
This was still a
And
good
remember,
episode.
Bakugo withstands the recoil of all his blasts.
Yes.
So even though Reze had greater stamina, Bakugo was more than tough enough to hang on and get his kill shot, especially with his superior speed.
And devil
Yes.
healing factors can be overtaxed with enough damage. Hell, she needed to drink blood a couple times against Denji just to keep fighting.
Against someone as fast and powerful as Bakugo, she would not get the chance to heal consistently, or perhaps at all.
Yes.
And what happens when devils die? They Bakugo to hell.
I'm definitely...
The winner is Katsuki Bakugo.
Here
Bombshell Hero Great Explosion Murder
like
God
Dynamite.
Dynamite.
This one was surprising how soon it is, but I'm still excited. I called it right away with the first shot, but man, that one's probably going to be one-sided too, but
subscribe and join us.
Man, it is good to see Groove vs. Megamind. I'm going to try to make my prediction tomorrow, so that way I can get prepared, but overall, that is it for my review. So far, I do think it is lower than, like, the lowest of the three so far, but overall, it was still pretty good. I do think that it definitely had, the soundtrack was definitely pretty good. I do like the connections, the animation was pretty good, the voice acting was good. Just not on par with, like, excitement overall, because, like, everyone was memeing on this, like, and knew that Bakugo overall was gonna win, but because of, again, the raw power, one actually had it, and even though it was people didn't like the ending, one actually had it the better ending of them all and actually showed character development, while the other one sadly only appeared 20 and never appeared again near the end, and what again was hated. But overall, happy Easter everyone. I hope you enjoy. I hope you enjoy this review overall. Not the best, but it's definitely worth it. I hope you all have a great Easter, and as birthdays are coming up and all, so just prepare for next month, and I hope see you again. Stay awesome. Goodbye.